Welcome to What the Wrestling, a show where I take a look at the various wrestling companies and their antics that made me scratch my head in confusion. For this episode, taking a look at March, I'm going to start with Impact Wrestling. According to my list, it was the least confusing of all the companies this month. All Impact really did was Swingers Palace, an underground casino that is pretty much just all in good fun, where Johnny Swinger decided to open up his own completely illegal amateur casino in the backstage area. This probably would have been swept under the radar and completely ignored if not for his commercial that he actually paid for a few weeks back, which was the height of hilarity in my opinion, including a testimonial from a lady who clearly got kicked out of way too many casinos, but at Swingers Palace no one ever tells her she's had too much or gambled too much. They just let her stay. Over on NXT, they held a tournament for the NXT Women's Tag Team titles. Well, the Women's Tag Team Dusty Cup anyway. But the winner of the Tag Team Dusty Cup, Rochelle Gonzalez and Dakota Kai, was awarded the NXT Women's Tag Belt when it was introduced by William Regal. Then that very night, defended those titles, only to lose them to Shotzi Blackheart and Ember Moon. Their one-night title reign, if you could even call it that. A few hours, maybe. Going over to WWE here now, since we're on the topic of short title reigns. The Miz cashed in his Money in the Bank title shot at long last to take the belt. The very next night on Raw, he was forced to live up to his end of the bargain in a deal made with Bobby Lashley. If Bobby Lashley took out Drew McIntyre, The Miz would have to award Bobby Lashley a title shot. And since he was forced to live up to that deal, he had to defend against Bobby Lashley, who whooped him soundly and took his title. It almost wastes the Money in the Bank title shot for Miz. Almost. But don't feel too badly for Miz, because he's now going to be facing a rapper at WrestleMania. Latin rap star Bad Bunny will be Miz's opponent at WrestleMania. Now, at first, I found this very confusing and a little infuriating, as we have no idea how good Bad Bunny's going to be and probably isn't going to be very good. Asking, of course, The Miz to carry this match for him. Now, just about a week before WrestleMania, it has been changed to The Miz and Morrison versus Bad Bunny and Damian Priest, which does improve the situation, but keep in mind, when I wrote this, it was still Miz versus Bad Bunny, and that still looked really bad. Speaking of looking not so great, Randy Orton had been vomiting up black stuff as of late. During his supernatural encounters with Alexa Bliss concerning the Fiend who he had burned, supposedly to death. Well, as it turns out, I guess the Fiend isn't quite dead. Or Alexa Bliss learned necromancy and brought him back. In any case, the supernatural power couple appears to be back, and Randy will be facing the Fiend once more at WrestleMania. I guess this is just a case of the Viper, the Witch, and the Weirdo. Speaking of weird matches, over on AEW, we had Miro and Kip Sabian versus the Best Friends in an Arcade Anarchy match. Now, this was a standard hardcore match that was supposed to be taking place with all sorts of arcade stuff hanging around. It really could have been done so much better. I would have loved to see, like, a little skee ball table where you set someone up on the skee ball and then, like, threw a skee ball at, like, their crotch or something. Or it was just kind of poorly done. They didn't even really look like arcade cabinets. It didn't really... They suggested that there would be prizes on the wall you could win and grab. They did that once. There was a chair that they just took off the wall. Apparently it was worth 2,000 tickets that they didn't earn during that match. They just took the chair. I don't know. I think it could have been a lot more fun if they put a little bit more effort into it. It just kind of seemed like a wasted match as it is now. The last story was the sudden betrayal of MJF against the Inner Circle. Apparently, this is what MJF was planning the entire time. It wasn't as much a masterstroke of a mastermind, and more just AEW management realizing that this isn't really working out, and we can do better with MJF. So let's just break him apart from the Inner Circle and make his own group. But they're trying to make you believe that this was MJF's idea the entire time, and you're all idiots. Who's been messing with Jericho? It was MJF all along. Who makes sure the Inner Circle goes? It was MJF all along. He's insidious, ha ha, and you're all idiots. Bet you never even noticed. Well, Guevara did, Sammy did, Sammy did, Sammy did. There's a new team that's called Pinnacle, and this was the plan all along. Just ask MJF, clever MJF. It was MJF all along.
I'm better than you, and you know it.
And that does it for What the Wrestling. Hope to see you next month with all the details that I care to mention about what happens at WrestleMania and more. So next time, I hope I see you in the ring.